there that you're not used to seeing. You got to calibrate a little bit, just how they're going to play, how they're going to attack. And that took us a minute, obviously, in the game. They played a lot of zone early that switched to man-to-man, and they're playing through Timmy quite a bit early. And so it took us a minute. I think it was tied at 42 at one point, and then the group that finished the first half did a really good job of stringing together stops and quality possessions on offense, gave us a cushion at halftime, and then we continued that in the second half.
And tonight seemed like another night, not necessarily different than others, but yes, there are sets that are being run, but a lot of also just improvisation and sort of understanding from your team. What kind of balance have you felt from your team as they've been together for a period of time here now for the last few years of being able to, run and execute something versus just go play?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the game is that, missed basket, you're coming down, you're usually just playing, and then sometimes you don't gain an advantage with whatever you're trying to do in your first action, and you've got to be able to try to generate an advantage somewhat randomly. So the guys have done a great job with it. We've worked hard on it for a long time. They've played with one another for a long time, so I agree that was a good quality, especially after we got through that first stretch in the first quarter and a half or so.
Mark, I just was listening to what you were saying before the game about not wanting to be rigid with lineups, which is like not new, but like wanting that variability. I guess how soon in advance do you know you want to try like a duo, a trio, a five-man lineup? How dependent is that on where you are in the season? And like, you just start the season like with a whiteboard, like these are the craziest lineups I want to try?
No, obviously not. I mean, there's some consistency to it. We don't want to just be, we want to thread the needle of the guys, having some consistency and rhythm, and also having to be able to adapt and be fluid. And, they know it's shoot around, generally who they're going to be out there with for at least part of it. But then, things happen in the game that you have to adjust to, or a guy's got it going, like Isaiah Joe had it going tonight, so you extend him a little bit more. So we just want to be a team that, when we make those decisions, the team can kind of dance with us on those things. And these guys have done a great job. We've tried to develop that habit over time, and that's pretty much it. But it's somewhat predictable for the team, going into the game, and then we just kind of pivot off it if necessary.
Obviously, 82 games is a grind no matter how you slice it, but how would you describe where your team is at emotionally, mentally at this point, in this season, coming off a championship defense versus this time last season when you're chasing your first championship? And I guess what unique challenges does the defense of it all present?
This team, to be honest with you, it is a long season, it is a grind, but this is a team that truly enjoys being around one another. So the minute they get together on the bus, it seems that their energy goes up. When they're together in practice or shoot around, their energy goes up, or even in the game. They gain energy by being around each other, and they've kind of always been like that. So that's been a quality that's existed independent of, context. And then we really haven't tried to look at this season as a defense. We've tried to look at it as a new season, that started from scratch. And, last year was great. No one's taken that away from us, but it's also over. And we've tried to look at this season as a new blank canvas that we had to, paint on, or whatever you will. So they've done a great job of that, and we've been able to play pretty consistent basketball throughout the season as a result.
And Mark, even with the different injuries Alex has had this season, how have you seen him try to build off of what he provided last season in terms of two-way presence and intangibles?
Caruso.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's the man. He's just, like you saw tonight, he played a very limited role. I didn't put him back out there, because of the spread of the scoreboard. He plays whatever role we need him to, both from a minutes standpoint and also stylistically. He's incredibly versatile on both ends of the floor. He has a great understanding of what we want to get done. He's a real catalyst when it comes to communication on the team, on and off the court. So he's incredible. He's invaluable to us. He's a total winner and a total team guy that just is constantly present every moment of the day, every moment of the game.
Seems like Jared was able to capitalize on his opportunities. Obviously, minutes haven't been as readily available as when he first got here. Now you guys are getting healthier. But what have you made of just his ability to stay ready for whenever his number does get called?
Yeah, I mean, that's something, we've talked a lot about, with you guys over the years with players being able to perform in somewhat narrow roles, somewhat unpredictable roles at times. And that may be new for a guy that's new, but I think he's handled it pretty well. I think the other guys handling it as well as they do probably helps that. It's somewhat environmental in the locker room, but he's done a nice job of just taking the opportunities that come and making the most of them, staying aggressive inside of those opportunities. He caught a nice rhythm tonight. I thought he was forceful, decisive, and did a nice job. We're going to obviously need everybody, and he's certainly someone that has proven that he's got utility to us that can help us. And so we've got to keep him confident and playing, with his head down.
Mark, you mentioned the game was tied at 42. You called that timeout. They come out. Crusoe 3, McCain scored. What kind of changed after that timeout? Because after that, it seemed like he had a grip on the game.
Yeah, I thought offensively we were a little more purposeful and intentional coming out of that. We just had some sloppy possessions that led to transition opportunities for LA, and so we made an emphasis to try to run more intentional offense. We did. We scored, and that helps us set our defense, and it got the ball rolling in the right direction.
Coach, would you agree with a statement that defending championship title is harder than winning a one?
Again, we really try not to look at it like a defense of anything, and we can't pursue a title tonight. All we could do tonight was play against the Lakers, and so that's how we approach everything. And tomorrow all we can do is play against the Clippers. Playoffs aren't here yet. We've clinched an opportunity to be there, but we take it a day at a time. We try to stay incredibly present. I do think that's what allows the team to enjoy the process as much as they do, is we try to keep 2 feet on the ground and not look too far ahead to anything, and just fully compete together every single game.
Mark, I don't know if this is accurate down to the exact number, but a quick search says that AC has 6 techs over his career, save for the shoe block a few weeks ago. But he talks to the refs like a lot, like certainly more than anybody on his team. I guess I just wonder like how you think he does that, how he's able to talk to officials so much, how he approaches those conversations, but like is never in the middle of situations where he would maybe be susceptible for a tech.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to like respect. He's respectful, and they're used to getting yelled at by everybody every night. I mean, that's literally NBA refs. They wake up, they eat breakfast, they eat lunch, and then they get yelled at for 2.5 hours. So, if you're respectful in that process, they give you a good amount of leeway. They've got thick skin, obviously, because they're dealing with it, like I said, all the time. And he's always respectful. He stays non-personal. He stays on the plays, and he does a nice job with that. And he's got credibility with them. They respect him because of how he plays the game and how he approaches them. Yep, thanks.